There are two ways you can create OPC tags in Ignition. The first is to create the tag manually. And here in the Designer, I can right-click on the Tags folder in the Tag Browser, go down to New Tag, select OPC tag, specify the OPC server and the OPC item path, which is the address to the tag in the PLC, and then it would be created. Now this could be a very time-consuming process because it's very much manual. The second method is much easier, and that is to browse for the tags using Ignition's OPC browser. So I click on the Tags folder, and right above it in the Tag Browser there's a little toolbar. In the toolbar there's a Browse OPC Servers button with the little PLC icon. That will bring up the OPC browser, and Ignition will show you all the OPC servers that are attached to Ignition at this point. So here I have the Ignition OPC UA server, and I have Kepware. So with this feature, I can actually browse all the devices that exist inside of each OPC server, and inside the devices, I can actually browse individual tags. Of course, this only works for PLCs that support browsing. All the Allen Bradley protocols the drivers that we have in Ignition support browsing, but a protocol like Siemens and Modbus, they don't support browsing. So if I go and expand Modbus, nothing exists in that folder. So I would have to create those tags manually. Now, if I can actually see the tags here, I can pick and choose which tags I want to bring into Ignition. So if I expand my MicroLogix, I can look for individual tags like N7:0, and I can just drag that tag into the tag database by itself. And you can see Ignition creates it, and as soon as we create that tag, we're going to start pulling that value at a 1-second rate. So it is a live Designer here. We can see those values immediately. Not only can we drag individual tags, we can drag folders. I can take N7 and I can take F8. I can hold down Control and select them both, drag them into the tags database, and Ignition will create those two folders. We will mimic the exact same hierarchy that you drag into Ignition, and all the tags inside those folders will be created. So it's very important in this scenario that you don't drag the entire PLC folder into Ignition. Because if you do that, we're going to create every single tag in that device, and we're going to start pulling those values at a 1-second rate by default. So that may give you behavior that you're not expecting. So for example, on a ControlLogix PLC with 1 million tags, you're going to start pulling 1 million tags at a 1-second rate, which is not going to be a very good thing there. So I can take tags from different PLCs into the same tag database, and I can go and pick and choose the individual tags that I want to work with. So if I go to my ControlLogix now, I can see all of the name tags that exist in the ControlLogix. I can go down to my M1 folder and see that there's some tags inside of that I can bring into Ignition. So all I got to do is drag the M1 folder into our tag database, and I can see that exact same folder. I can also drag tags into a folder that already exists. So if I want to create a new folder here called Motors, of course, M1 that I already dragged in there, I can just move it back into the Motors folder, and then I can go and take the other ones, M2 to M4, and drag those into the Motor folder so I can create a nice hierarchy there, a nice structure. And this is very important if you're keeping your tags organized and named correctly. You want to do this. So it's really easy to take tags from different PLCs into Ignition. You can pick and choose which ones you want to bring by browsing for those tags and dragging them in. Same thing applies if I was to go down to Kepware. I can go and browse those PLC tags and bring them into Ignition. Once they're in Ignition, you can modify the configuration, you can move them around, and you can use them any way that you'd like.